The white ones are more of a tropical scent. It's beautiful. The pink ones are very light, sweet, honey type scent, and the white ones are more of a, I don't know, like a neroli almost, kind of a sweet orange scent. It's really remarkable this year. I've never been this strong before, so I'm happy to use them in Enfleurage. Yeah, it's nice. Been listening to music and some books, audio books, and just having a great time. Right now I'm listening to The Blood of Flowers, which is, it's amazing. It's a great story. It's beautiful and horrible at the same time, but really beautiful. I recommend it. I read a lot of flower-themed books, of course. And someday I think I'll write flower-themed stories too. I just have so much fun with flowers, I can't stop. Every part of life is full of flowers. Every part. From birth, birthdays, death, weddings, everything. All important events have to do with flowers. It's just lovely. Absolutely wonderful. The world of flowers. And this is called Enfleurage. And basically what I'm doing is I'm taking flowers off the stems, leaving the sepals on. Sometimes I'll leave a tiny bit of stem on there. And facing them downward on top of the fat, not pressing it in at all, just resting it gently on the fat. And these flowers are going to exhale their scent, and the surface of the fat, which is called the corpse, is going to absorb the scent. I guess it's actually adsorption if you're a chemist and you want to look up the term, adsorption. But what it is exactly is just laying down the scent into the fat. And then when we harvest, after 30 days, the flower changes every day, changing out new flowers, or longer, depends on what we have. Sometimes I'll do a combination because I don't have quite enough of one flower, so I will then go to another flower that's in season, so I can finish out at least 30 days of flower changes of some flower. Then I'll have enough scent to call it a pomade. But you can do as little as a week or two even, and then go to another flower. But you still have the imprint, the essence that is embedded in the fat. And it'll change by which flowers you add to it. So honeysuckle, this honeysuckle is Tartarian honeysuckle, and it only really blooms for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. So you're lucky if you get 20 days, but I'm going to try for 20. If I get 20, then I will have a nice pomade that I can extract the oil from. So the first stage is to extract the pomade and get the pomade to have scent, and you extract the scent into the pomade. The solvent is the oil, the fat that we're using, and then I can extract from the pomade the essential oil, or absolute is really what it's called, from the pomade. So I'll get a teeny tiny little bit from the pomade. I need pounds of pomade really to make an ounce of oil, to extract an ounce of oil from it. So it'll be a while before this is ready. maybe several months. I'm thinking I could use a little bit of the pomade in a perfume I'm making, the Weeds and Wildflowers perfume. The Weeds and Wildflowers perfume, I'll be able to put a little bit of this in, maybe a half a pound or a pound of pomade will go into making a few drops of oil, and then I'll mix that with other oils that I'm extracting. I like to use all the invasives. This is actually an invasive. It takes over and it crowds out and blocks the sunlight for the native plants underneath, and takes over an area pretty quickly. So I like to take the flowers off. Since it spreads by seed, if I remove the flowers and use them in perfume, it keeps the bush smaller and doesn't allow it to spread so quickly and violently through the landscape. So I feel like if I can use invasives, that's all the better. And I have 3 varieties of this Tartarian honeysuckle. I've got the white, I've got the light pink, which is very light pink. The buds are darker than the flower. And then I've got a darker pink over here, which I've been using as well. They smell differently. Each one smells a little bit different. The white is, like I said, the more tropical one, more like a sweet orange or a neroli. And the pinks are sweet and lovely as well, but they don't have that tropical note, that buttery tropical note. So I'm using more of the creamy white than I am of the pink, because that's what I'm looking for, is that tropical note. I like that. I like that we have a tropical note that comes from the north. These really go wild and take over here. They become trees. The trunks on them are so thick. In our old house we had one that was maybe 200 years old. They seemed to live forever. And it had been hacked and made into a hedge and then cut several times to avoid the power lines, and it just kept going, and it smelled so lovely. I didn't know it was an invasive at the time, but we kept it under control. So I'll do this every day for another couple weeks until the flowers run out, and then I'll probably have Dame's Rocket, which is another invasive. It smells lovely. It's a powdery, fresh, wild scent. And also gonna have some milkweed. We've got beautiful milkweed that I planted. I didn't actually plant, I just allowed it to take over an area, and I weeded out all the other plants, and then allowed the milkweed to take over. Asclepias, I believe it is, and it's a beautiful globe, pink globe, mauve color. Smells amazing, and that'll be added to the wildflower mix. And then to top it all off, we'll probably use some of those Canadian white violets that we've got in our yard, growing everywhere, just popping up. I don't know how they got here, but they smell amazing. They must have known I would spare them because they smell so good, and not mow that area. Opportunistic that way. They smell good. They are preserved. Those white ones are just phenomenal. So the fat I'm using, the corpse as it's called, is not an animal corpse, it is vegetable. And you can use just about any fat that's solid at room temperature. I like to use palm kernel oil. It's RSPO certified, Round Table on Sustainability, and it's also organically grown and fair trade, and it comes from old plantations. It's not wild harvested out of the forest where orangutans live. It's been cultivated for this purpose, and it's a beautiful glide for butters and body butters and pomade, solid perfumes. It's very therapeutic too. It contains a lot of naturally occurring phytonutrients, some vitamin E, vitamin A, naturally occurring antioxidants. It's beautiful stuff, and it actually resembles our own sebum very closely. So I want to make make it clear that it's not the evil that people believe it is. And many cultures rely on it heavily. Coconut industry and coconut oils are far worse, and they don't have the controls that the palm kernel oil industry has. I've seen, when I was in Malaysia, I've seen monkeys that are chained to their workers, and they whip them and they beat them, and they go up the tree and they collect coconuts. It's the saddest thing. These monkeys are big monkeys, like, oh gosh, small human-sized monkeys. I don't recognize what type they are, but they look like humans when you look at their faces. It's just heartbreaking, and they're forced to pick coconuts their whole life, and they're whipped and beaten and mistreated. It's just terrible, and that's the coconut oil industry. So I don't know what they're doing nowadays, but that was a few years ago when I was in Malaysia. I saw that happening. It was just tragic. So I know these plantations are in Brazil and Philippines, around the world, that grow palm just for this purpose of it's edible, and it feeds societies, and it's also really nutritious for the skin and hair. So please don't negate all palm kernel oils. There are some good ones out there. Still doing this one tray. I'll get it finished here in a moment. It took me a while to get started because I had to work through the pile of flowers that I picked. But we're getting there. Anyway, it's not a race. It is something to be enjoyed and savored. And this is your time to relax and meditate and talk to yourself and tell yourself good things and beautiful things, and smell these beautiful smells while you're working. So you don't have to hurry through it. You don't have to speed this up. This is meditation. This is beautiful work. So as long as it takes me is what it takes. And I'll do this every day on this tray. Make it beautiful, make it smell incredible, fantastic. And then I'll harvest it and start making oils out of it. It almost reminds me of neroli to look at it, to see these guys. These little flowers, they look similar to orange blossoms. A sweet orange. And they do smell reminiscent of that. I don't know if I explained this, but I keep the sepals on because that's where the scent factory is. In that little green sepal that is the base of the flower. There's a little scent gland in there that produces the scent, and it comes out like a vapor out of this flower. If you tried to distill it, steam distillation would wreck it, as is the same with gardenia and jasmine and lilac, peony, hyacinth, many flowers. You'll destroy them with steam distillation because the heat, they can't handle the heat, and it douses the little factory that's creating the scent, so it puts out the fire. This is a little scent factory in here, and we want to try to preserve that as long as possible. 24 hours is about as long as you can do it, and so you have to change the flowers every 24 hours, which is fine, but you've got to know your limits so you don't get the rotten smell. You don't leave it in there too long. But this little sepal is where moisture is kept. Flower has a little scent gland in there, the floret, and that's where you're going to find the scent coming from. So if you keep that on the flower, you keep that scent gland fed with the nutrients and moisture that it needs to make the vapors, the fragrance that's coming out of it. That's important. And it is with all the flowers that I do. I keep the sepals on the peonies, on the lilac florets, on everything. Because it allows the scent to be made longer. It's manufactured longer inside the flower that way, and the flower doesn't dry out or rot. So I haven't damaged the flower by pulling the sepal off of it. When you pull the sepal off, it begins to rot right away. Keep the sepal on, so I'll clip it with my fingernail right about here. And that green stuff doesn't impart any scent, doesn't ruin anything. People think that it does. It does not. You keep it off the fat anyway. It's not even touching. These are all standing up straight. The sepals are pointing up. Yeah, one of them maybe, or two of them kind of fell over, but that's fine. It's not going to impart a lot of scent. It's not going to ruin anything. That's fine. If they fall over, it's fine. They're still exhaling into the chamber. I'm going to make a chamber by putting another chassis on top. And I'm going to place the fat side down on the next chassis so that it can be exposed to the scent inside the chamber. That's why we create these stackable chassis, so they can be placed on top of each other, and you can create a chamber full of this lovely scent, and over the 24 hours it's in there, it'll impart its scent to both layers of fat, the top and the bottom. Then when I change the flowers the next day, I'll turn that top and it'll become the bottom, and I'll put the flowers on the top then, the top that's turned over. I'll make that the bottom layer, and I'll place the flowers on that, and it seems to balance out the pomade so that I'm getting top notes and bottom notes from the floret. hard to do this with gloves because I'm using my fingernail to break off the flower. So keep it clean, as clean as possible. It is a natural product, and it's going to go into making an oil, so it'll be soaking in alcohol. If there's any germs off my hands, it'll be soaking in alcohol, 190 proof alcohol for several days, weeks, whatever. It's not going to be contaminated by a little dirty fingernail activity. And I'm going to finish this one out with all white, so it's really tropical smelling. It's like a jasmine, gardenia, neroli mix. It's really lovely. A little bit of ylang-ylang almost too. It's just so sweet and nice. But unlike any of those, really. It's just kind of reminiscent. It's got its own scent. Very distinctive honeysuckle scent. Oh, this is going to be so exciting. So beautiful. Just a couple more, and then I'm going to place the top on. Just a few more. Oh, it smells so good. It's intoxicating, really. Puts you in a good mood no matter what. I come out here and I do enfleurage all day, practically every day, and for at least 2 months, and it just makes me so happy. I'm going to continue to do this till I leave the planet. Something that can be done your whole life, as long as you have flowers in the garden. There we go. Now I'm going to put the top on. I've prepared this chassis with a thin layer of fat, palm kernel oil, and then I scored it nicely. You could see it on the other one as well. I score it, and the reason I score it like that is to create more surface area so that scent can get into all those crevices and be absorbed into the layers of the fat. So I'll lift this one up and place it on top of this one. And then I'm going to cover this layer with my basket of honeysuckle.